Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the MeanGene Show, streaming live here on podbean.com. It is a Thursday, March 17th, 2022, otherwise known as St. Patrick's Day. Happy St. Patrick's Day to all of you that celebrate St. Patrick's Day. I guess we all do because for some reason, we look for a reason to drink, to indulge in beverages, which most of us will be doing today. But we have more than just St. Patrick's Day to indulge in beverages because it is also the beginning of the NCAA tournament. March Madness begins today. Man, do we have a lot to talk about on this show. We will jump all into the NCAA March Madness today. 16 games. I will go over all 16 games that will be played today. And I will, of course, cover last night's NBA scores, as well as the two play-in games last night that officially decided the 64 teams that make up the NCAA tournament. And of course, as always, NFL free agency is going to be the topic of conversation for the next couple of days, as long as there are still some big name free agents that are out there. So we are going to talk about that anyway. And so just sit back and relax. So yesterday, me and Dustin Pfeiffer, who covers, he works for Bally Sports Southeast. He covers the Charlotte Hornets and the Carolina Panthers. We did our bracket show. So go out there. It's on Podbean Live. It's also, we did it for iHeartRadio, but it's available on Podbean Live. You can get it. Listen to it because you have just a couple of hours to actually take notes. And if you haven't completed a bracket or if you want to complete an additional bracket, I highly advise you to go and listen to that show because we did our best. Now, this was a collective effort from me and Dustin because we normally, now Dustin has several brackets. I have several brackets, but this was a MeanGene Dustin Pfeiffer bracket. So this bracket, if we win, we had to agree on every pick for the NCAA tournament. So it was really fun doing this bracket. So I hope you go and listen to that show. It's out there for you. For your pleasure. So I thought I would do a little bit of research and homework on the meaning of St. Patrick's Day because if you're going to go out there and drink, you have to know what the hell you're drinking for. So let's jump into this. Why is St. Patrick's Day so special? So, okay, so it particularly remembers St. Patrick, one of Ireland's patron saints who ministered Christianity in Ireland during the 5th century. St. Patrick's Day is celebrated in countries with people of Irish descent. I think we knew that part. So, all right. So anyway, just so you know, so when I ask you why are you chugging down those beers, at least you can respond with some sense, and so that's a good thing. Okay, so just all right. I just wanted to make sure we knew that. So, like, you really need a reason to drink. But you have it. It's March Madness. Okay, so all right, let's just jump into the NBA because the NBA continues to excite. 12 games on the hardwood last night. And ironically, only one game scheduled tonight. Thank goodness, because who has time to watch NBA games when you have 16 games starting at about, I believe, 11 o'clock my time here in the Central Time Zone? So thank goodness NBA for only scheduling one NBA game that nobody is probably going to watch. Okay. So, but we did watch a little bit last night. Well, I didn't watch much NBA last night. I did on my telephone because living here in Houston, I went to the Houston Livestock Rodeo Show. The first time ever I went to the rodeo show and was entertained, believe it or not. I just, I did not wear the traditional cowboy boots and spurs and a hat and all of that stuff. I'm not really with that. I'm not, but I did enjoy the show. The singer Khalid was there, so entertaining, and it was one of those things that I said that I probably wouldn't do or never would do. And this is why you never say what you never would do, folks, because sometimes you end up doing it. Now, I didn't purchase a ticket to go. I was invited. I was invited to sit in the suites of NRG Stadium, which was really nice. So I couldn't turn that down. I didn't turn it down. Normally, I would be watching multiple NBA games or NC2A games or whatever is on TV, but I decided to step out of my normal element and enjoy the livestock show, and I did that. So anyway, just thought I would put that out there. But I do know, and I always keep up with what's going on because I have the NBA League Pass on my telephone, so I'm always going to be near the action. All right, so action there was the. And me and Dustin Pfeiffer talked about this because, like I said, Dustin covers the Charlotte Hornets. I talked about this yesterday in an important game over in the Eastern Conference. If you look at the current standings, the play-in tournament consists of the ninth and 10th seed is Atlanta Hawks and the Charlotte Hornets. They played each other last night for the right to sort of separate themselves. And it was the Charlotte Hornets. The Charlotte Hornets defeated the Atlanta Hawks 116-106. Trae Young, 9 points, 15 assists, 3 steals. It was um, LaMelo Ball, 22 points, 11 assists, 8 rebounds. So, I tell you what, either one of those teams is going to pose problems for the Brooklyn Nets, who just cannot seem to get out of that 8th spot. And I'll talk about the Brooklyn Nets here in a little bit because, oh my goodness, they showed their asses last night. I can say that, okay, because they did. That's exactly what they did. But anyway, watch out, Charlotte Hornets, Atlanta Hawks. And the Atlanta Hawks made a deep run in the playoffs last year. I don't know. I don't really know what's going on. I don't know how. It's just funny to see how teams just really change from one season to the next. You have high hopes if you are a Hawk fan that man, this team looks good. Look what they did last year. They played Milwaukee really well last year, and look what they did to the 76ers, and oh my goodness, and now this year they're just struggling. But anyway, the Hornets defeated the Hawks in another game. The 76ers, almost like a must win for the 76ers. The 76ers defeated the Cleveland Cavaliers 118-114. Joel Embiid, 35 points, 17 rebounds, 5 assists for the 76ers. Darius Garland, 22 points, 7 assists, 5 rebounds. And you know what? I said it was a must win for the 76ers because it was. It really was. They have been struggling big time. And folks are saying like, well, James Harden really came out there and showed out in his first couple of games with the 76ers, and he sort of disappeared. Well, he showed up last night, 42 minutes of play. He had 21 points, but it was the big man, and it was Maxey. Also, Maxey put up 25 points, and Tobias Harris, 19 points. You really need Tobias Harris to step up. He doesn't always step up, but he really needs to in order for the 76ers to maintain their status and to make a good run in these playoffs. And right now, the 76ers are holding that third spot, the third seed in the Eastern Conference with a record of 42-26. Cleveland Cavaliers, they continue to slide. And this is why I think the Brooklyn Nets have an opportunity to move up, because Cleveland at one time was the 4th seed, and they're dropping. They're really slipping. And I honestly do believe the Brooklyn Nets will get it together, move up probably to that 6th spot, because they do not want to stay in the 8th spot and have to face either an Atlanta or a Charlotte Hornets team in a play-in tournament. They just do not want to do that. And I don't think they will. I think the Cleveland Cavaliers will continue to slide. And it's unfortunate because they just really have a young team too, but they do have a talented team. So they lose to the 76ers last night, 118-114. In other action, it was the Denver Nuggets 127 win over the Washington Wizards. The Joker, 29 points, 13 rebounds, 8 assists. Man, those numbers are going up. And for the Washington Wizards, it was Porzingis with 16 points, 7 rebounds. So Denver getting it done. They've had some quality wins here of late, and they are just kind of holding steady in that sixth spot over in the Western Conference. Now, don't think, and I think Denver and Dallas, those teams are always going to be in the playoffs in the Western Conference. Trust me. And I know that they don't have Murray playing with the Denver Nuggets right now, but they do have enough. As long as they got the Joker, they have enough, and they will be relevant in the playoffs. And and I said that the Joker had 29 points and 13 rebounds. That was in 26 minutes. Okay, so not bad. And this guy can just go out there and get it done. We're talking just in 26 minutes he did that. So not really sure why he. That's just good minute management. Maybe they didn't need him out there because the bench really scored. And how about this? DeMarcus Cousins is really going to help the Denver Nuggets. He played 20 minutes, 14 rebounds. I'm sorry, 14 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists. Probably why the Joker didn't need to play 30, 40 minutes because you have, I mean, the bench really put it on. Austin Rivers, 21 minutes, 13 points. And this is just really good stuff. So Denver will be relevant in these NBA playoffs, which are going to be so much fun. I can't wait to next month when, the March Madness will be done and we get right on into the NBA playoffs. So big win for the Nuggets, 127-109 over the Wizards. The Portland Trail Blazers, oh my goodness, this was a disaster. The New York Knicks, now the Knicks don't win a lot of games, and they have probably had the biggest seesaw season. They were up at I believe, the number 4 seed at one time during the year. And I know Knicks fans really have a reason to be pissed off. But last night in the Garden, they defeated the Portland Trail Blazers 128 to 98. 128 to 98. Now, I will be in the Garden next Wednesday when the Knicks face the Atlanta Hawks. I hope to see something like that. I really do. I'd like to see a win. I've never seen the Knicks play in Madison Square Garden. Now, I have been to Madison Square Garden, but I saw a college basketball game. I think it was Farley Dickinson. I think it was St. John's. So it was one of those college basketball tournaments. I was up there on the East Coast to watch. But this will be exciting to see the Knicks play in the Garden. I'm trying to get that New York accent, which I don't have because I'm from the South, as most of you can tell. Country boy raised in Arkansas. Proud of my heritage. If you can't understand some of the words, I say you can always listen to the podcast and rewind and slow it down and make sense of what I'm saying. But anyway, I'm looking forward to that game next week. But how about this? Woohoo! The Knicks, 31 points from R.J. Barrett. Now, Barrett is a guy that the Knicks are going to have to deal with. When I say that, I mean when it comes time to paying this guy his money. R.J. Barrett, 31 points. And Julius Randle also had 20 points. Now, Julius Randle, I think they've already handled his money, and he had 9 rebounds in that game as well. But man, it was pretty. It was a big win, even though the Knicks are sitting right there in the 12th spot. There's just not enough time for them to play well enough to get to the 10th spot to earn that play-in tournament. I just don't think it's going to happen. But man, what a big win! They are 29-40. They beat a team that is 26-42, the Portland Trailblazers. Same thing with them. They're in the 12th spot in the Western Conference. Remember, Portland had that humongous trade with the Pelicans, and they just don't. That season is pretty much done for both of these teams. But man, what a big win for the New York Knicks in front of the home crowd. Phoenix Suns last night here in Houston, big win, 129-112 over the Houston Rockets. Devin Booker, 36 points, 4 assists. And Bridges. I tell you, Bridges is stepping it up along with Booker, who's always stepping it up. And the Phoenix Suns continue to roll. And I tell you what, I'm not, it's going to be competitive, but man, the Suns are just too damn good. The Suns are just, it doesn't matter if they're at home, if they are on the road, they are going to get it done. Mr. A, good morning to you, sir. Thank you for joining and coming back. I see we got some extra friends here in the chat room here. I hope you guys are enjoying the show. I know I'm a little late. I don't always really give a specific time that I'm going to be on, but I'm glad you guys were able to come back on. I am going to be on 5 days a week, Monday through Friday. I gotta chill for the weekend because I gotta actually attend some of these games. But thank you guys for jumping on here. But Phoenix Suns, hey, number one in the Western Conference with a record of 56-14. And I don't know if you guys knew this, but the Phoenix Suns have already clinched the playoff spot. Okay, the only team in the NBA that has done so, and they beat a Rockets team that has a record of 17-52, which is crazy. But hey, of those 17 wins, they beat the Lakers. Okay, so hey, not look, if you beat the Lakers, you're okay, and which everybody has seemed to do so. But big win for the Phoenix Suns in a game that nobody thought they would lose anyway. The Oklahoma City Thunder and the San Antonio Spurs, it was the Spurs winning 122-120. And Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, 34 points, 8 assists, 6 rebounds. DeJounte Murray for the Spurs, 26 points, 12 assists, 9 rebounds. You know what? I don't care. Uh, with the Spurs, there's always going to be a good point guard or a good guard. Popovich always seems to find these good guards, whether it's Patty Mills. It just doesn't matter. He's always going to find a good guard, and DeJounte Murray is that good guard now for the Spurs. And the Spurs, I don't think the Spurs are going to make the playoffs. They could. Now, they're in that 11th spot, but with a record of 27-43, do you really want them in the playoffs? Probably not. Same thing with the Thunder. They're just not going to make it. These teams are just horrible. And this is one reason why I don't really care for that play-in tournament, because you just shouldn't be there. You know, the NBA has always said the top 8 teams in each conference makes the playoffs. So this play-in tournament, because the bubble, when COVID-19 was running rapid and everybody was in the bubble, they thought they would make it exciting and introduce this, and that was fine then, but it's not now. If you don't play well enough to be the top 8 teams in your conference, this play-in tournament is irrelevant. And believe it or not, a team like the Spurs at 27-43, now they could go on a little streak here and maybe get to 500. I doubt it. But let's just say if they get to the 10th spot, they have a chance to play in. And with a coach like Greg Popovich, man out there with 5 championships, hell, he can coach this team to to get to the playoffs. Who wants to coach and play against a Greg Popovich coach team? So, but it's just not fair. It should be the top 8 teams. It shouldn't be nothing else. But hey, it is what it is. We have to deal with it. But that's how scary it could be. Nobody wants to see a team, a 27-43 team in the playoffs. It's just, we see that in the NFL too sometimes. When you get those teams, those wild card teams, and hopefully no one will ever get to the Super Bowl with a 500 record, but yeah, it could happen, but hopefully not. But anyway, Spurs win. Popovich continues to increase his record and his resume as the all-time winningest coach in the NBA. The Utah Jazz defeated the Chicago Bulls 125-110, and I don't know what's going on with the Bulls. Bulls fans, whew, you're probably wondering, like, okay, what is going on here? At one time, the Bulls was the number 1 team in the East, but you should have known that the Jazz, after losing to the Milwaukee Bucks the other night, that they were going to turn it around. The Bulls, like I said, they were the number 1 seed at one time. they have dropped to number 5 in the East. And I say again, this is why the Brooklyn Nets have a chance to move up. If the Cavaliers and the Bulls, which are 5 and 6 right now, keep sliding, you know, this is why they play the games. Like, I had to steal that from football, but this is why they play the games. So I'm sorry, Bulls fans, but Donovan Mitchell, woo-wee, he scored 25 or 37 points in the third, and he went off. And you always know he's capable of doing that. But big win for the Utah Jazz. And speaking of the Milwaukee Bucks, they defeated the Sacramento Kings 135-126. I told you yesterday that this would be a good game. But why is it that Middleton seems to play well? Well, he plays well at home, but actually he played well last night on the road. How about that? He actually had 32 points, 8 assists, 8 rebounds, and Sabonis is really going to be good with this Sacramento Kings team. Came over in that trade. He had 22 points, but big win for Milwaukee on the road. They continue to win and look good. And let's see where they are in the standings right now, because I think they are right behind the Miami Heat. Yes, with a record of 44-26. They are number 2. So, and I think there's still a 2.5 game difference between Miami and the Bucks. But don't take your eyes off the Bucks, because remember, they are the defending champions, right? And I think they're going to catch Miami and eventually be number 1. That's just me. I could be wrong, but I think they are. Okay, so big win, 135-126 over Sacramento. And, I talked about this game yesterday. I actually thought it was going to be the Jason Tatum, Steph Curry show. It didn't really work out that way. And when you hear the score, the Boston Celtics defeated the Golden State Warriors in San Francisco last night, 110-88. Steph Curry got hurt, didn't finish the game, got his ankle rolled up, and a controversial play involving Marcus Smart with Boston. But man, 88 points by the Golden State Warriors at home? Are you kidding me? Now, I told you the Celtics were hot. Jason Tatum, 26 points, 12 rebounds, and Poole had 29 points for Golden State. And Golden State is deep, but man, they really need it. I just thought it was going to be a 50-point night for Curry and a 50-point night for Tatum. And Brown also had a big night for Boston. But the Celtics are rolling. The Celtics are on fire. Believe me. And another team that the East is going to have to deal with, they are in the 4th spot. I think just early in the week, I think they were like in the 6th spot when we started talking about the standings. So the Celtics are just crazy. The Boston Celtics, some people just hate the Celtics. Some people hate the Lakers and the Celtics, because between them, they have a gazillion championships, and they really do. I think the Celtics have 18 NBA championships. The Lakers have 17, although the Lakers may not ever see 18 with this season. But the Celtics, another team that you have to watch out for. And just when Chris Paul got injured, after the All-Star break, and we figured, man, the Phoenix Suns are going to drop there a little bit and Golden State might catch them. Well, Golden State is going the other way. Golden State right now is in the 3rd spot in the Western Conference. You know who's number 2? I told you the other day, see if you were listening, is the Memphis Grizzlies, right? Ja Morant. Ja Morant wasn't even playing the other day in the Memphis team won. I think they have a record of like 13-2 or something like that when he's not playing. That's scary. So the Warriors, don't panic. They're going to be there. But it is shocking to see that they're sort of slipping. And we have to see what's happening with this Steph Curry injury. No Curry on the floor. That could be problems. And I know how deep the Warriors are, but that would still be somewhat of a problem if Steph Curry is not on the court. The Toronto Raptors defeated the Clippers 103-100. Pascal Siakam, 31 points, 12 rebounds, double-double. Where is this energy coming from? The Toronto Raptors are, I think, 2 wins in a row? What is happening in Toronto? Clippers, they are falling a little bit. They might be tied with the Lakers here pretty soon. The Lakers just might get that 8th spot, which they won't do anything with it. But the Clippers lose at home. That's not good. Anyway, so big win for the Toronto Raptors. So I know I skipped the game because, and I did it on purpose because I skipped 2 games. Well, let's get the Lakers out the way. Let's get the Lakers out the way because I told you that they played the Minnesota Timberwolves last night. It was the battle of if the Lakers originated. It used to be the Minneapolis Lakers back in the day with George Mikan, the original big center, way back in the day. I'm talking about way back in the day. Um, like great grandparents' day, way back there. So anyway, the Minnesota Timberwolves, a team I told you that I really do like. They are very talented, very talented. They beat the Lakers 124-104. Lakers just continue to be embarrassed. At least it didn't happen in front of the people at crypto.com arena. I have to get used to saying that because I like staples. But anyway, LeBron James, 19 points, 5 rebounds. But man, Edwards for the Minnesota Timberwolves, this guy is great. If you ever seen him play, he is really, really good. So the Timberwolves are in the 7th spot. They don't have to worry about a play-in. This team a few years ago was not even a playoff team, but this team is going to do some damage. In the NBA, the 7th seed plays the 2 seed. So right now, that means if the playoffs started today, the Minnesota Timberwolves would play the Memphis Grizzlies. Wouldn't that be a hell of a matchup? And I hope it stays that way, and it could. It really could. But Minnesota is good. They could actually move up. But you know, you're talking about them having to pass Dallas and Denver, which could happen, but I don't know. As long as you got the Joker, then you got Doncic, and we're getting ready to talk about Dallas here in a minute. But man, I like them. They will not drop. I don't see them not making the playoffs. But big win for the Minnesota Timberwolves, and I know they just got to be sticking it and laughing laughing at the Lakers, and they probably like, hey, we should be called the Lakers, and instead of you guys, we are better than you guys. We should be called the Lakers. So let's talk about the big game of the night. And this is funny. You're talking about karma. You know what karma is, right? You know karma. You know what that is when what goes around comes around. Anyway, Spencer Dinwiddie used to play with the Brooklyn Nets, and this was before the mega trade and the mega deal bringing Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant. It was all Spencer Dinwiddie and D'Angelo Russell at one time, and those guys were really, you know, uh, playing well for the Brooklyn Nets. So that, ownership didn't really like that team, so they bring in Durant and Harden and Kyrie, and the Harden thing didn't work out, so they still have Durant and Kyrie, but Kyrie is not allowed to play in Brooklyn. We already talked about that. I'm not even going to get into that. But last night, oh my goodness, Luka Doncic, I figured he would kind of have a great game, and he did for the most part with 37 points. He really clowned last night. He had a hell of a game last night, but it wasn't Luka that took the last shot to win the game. The Mavericks win 113-111. And for the most part, now I watched this game on my telephone while I was at the rodeo because I knew this was going to be an interesting game. The Brooklyn Nets was leading this game for the most part. And boy, right at the last, we're talking about a buzzer beater. Spencer Dinwiddie hits a 3-pointer against his old team. Not Luka Doncic, who's known for hitting these last-minute shots. It was Spencer Dinwiddie hitting that shot. And how about the way they guarded Kevin Durant last night? Jason Kidd is the coach of the Dallas Mavericks. Crazy. It was just crazy stuff last night in the in this game. So the Nets, man, you talking about a chance for them to like gain some ground over there in that Eastern Conference. They cannot get out of that 8th spot for nothing. I don't know what it's going to take for them to get out of that spot. And they should have got out of it last night. They should have beat the Dallas team. But this Dallas Mavericks team is in the 5th spot in the Western Conference with a record of 43-26. They they're not going to drop. They have a chance to move up. I think Utah was in the 4th spot now, if I'm not mistaken. So that the Western Conference sometimes just kind of stay where it is, and I don't know. And I got to look at the schedules for the next couple of weeks. But man, I cannot wait to go on the road. Last year, I was in Milwaukee for the Brooklyn Nets Milwaukee series. And I had a chance to see that. That was cool. And I also caught the first round of the Lakers Phoenix Suns series. So I think I'm going to go back to the Western Conference this year, find a good matchup, and cover that series. And I think it might be a Memphis series. It's been a while since I've seen the Memphis Grizzlies play. The last time I went to a Memphis game in Memphis, I was like one of 3 people in the whole damn arena. And now it's hard to get a ticket to a Memphis game. I got friends that live in Memphis who all of a sudden now they just love Memphis and they are season ticket holders. And it's just amazing. I don't blame them for jumping on that wagon because that's a damn good team to be on the wagon, with John Morant. But I cannot wait for those playoffs. So anyway, that's the NBA action, and I'm really glad there's only one NBA game tonight, and I don't think anyone's going to be watching it because it's the Detroit Pistons and the Orlando Magic. Why would they even play on the opening day of the March Madness tournament? But anyway, no one's going to watch that game, but I will have a score for you on Monday. Maybe because there's so much March Madness happening this weekend that I don't know if I'm going to actually talk about that. So that's it for the NBA. And let's look at the NC2A because we're going to talk about the games that are going to be scheduled today. But we did have some play-in games. And I'm sorry if I don't get to the NIT because I think that's probably irrelevant at this point now. I only talked about the NIT because there was no other college basketball happening at the time other than the play-in games. But there were 2 more play-in games last night, and there were 16 seeds trying to get in for the right to play against the number 1 seed Arizona, and it just happened to be Wright State versus Bryant, and Wright State won 93-82, so they get to go up against Arizona, the number 1 seed, who will probably beat the brakes off of them. And I'm sorry, I'm really sorry. You only get excited for just that. Well, you get excited twice. You get excited when you make the tournament. You get excited when you win your play-in game, and then that's it. Then you get beat by 20, maybe 25 points against the number 1 seed, Arizona, which is going to happen. And I think in our brackets, and if you guys missed it earlier, Dustin Pfeiffer, who works for Bally Sports Southeast, yesterday, and he covers the Carolina Panthers and the Charlotte Hornets. We did our bracket show. So it's already on Podbean and iHeartRadio and Odyssey and wherever you listen to your podcast. So we did that bracket show. So you guys have enough time to listen to that show and copy, cheat, whatever you need to do to win, to have your perfect bracket, which I don't know if anyone has ever had a perfect bracket, but we did. And I think obviously we picked Arizona to beat Wright State, but I think we picked Wright State to win this play-in game, which doesn't really matter for your brackets, but we just, picked them just so we could be right. So, and then there was another play-in game, and this one right here. Now, this one we got wrong because we actually picked Rutgers. Now, Rutgers and Notre Dame played, and the point spread on this was 1 point. And believe it or not, it was a close game because they needed 2 overtimes, not 1, but 2 overtimes. Notre Dame win 89-87 to make the NC2A tournament. They will play, it was 2 11 seeds, and they will play Alabama. Alabama is a 6th seed. So that changes things because I think we had Rutgers not only winning the game last night over Notre Dame, but we also had Rutgers beating Alabama. So our bracket is already screwed up. So you probably don't want to follow us. No, that's just one game though. That's just one game. So don't panic. Okay. We're not gonna panic. So that is NC2A. action from last night. So I do want to talk about NFL free agency. And Mr. A, we talked about this yesterday. Von Miller. Von Miller. What happened in the NFL yesterday? Von Miller is on to something, people. He won a Super Bowl with the Denver Broncos. He won a Super Bowl with the Rams. And now he has landed a 6-year deal worth reportedly $120 million to the Buffalo Bills, a team that I actually picked to make the Super Bowl last year, or this year, a team that really should have made the Super Bowl. They should have beat the Kansas City Chiefs. Everybody knows that, right? But Von Miller is going to the Buffalo Bills, and we have to acknowledge it and say it that he has one hell of a chance of winning a Super Bowl with his third team. Now I know it's early. I'm just saying, on paper it looks good. It damn sure looks good for the Buffalo Bills, and I'm not mad at the guy. $120 million, and he's not that young. Don't know what happened with the Dallas Cowboys. Everyone thought, including myself, that Von Miller would return to Texas. You know, he played his college football in the state of Texas at Texas A&M, about 45 minutes up the road from my home. And wow, that was shocking. I didn't see that one coming, but it happened. And Von Miller is now with the Buffalo Bills. So it must be nice to go from one good team to another good team to another good team. He's not going to play for a scrub. So I don't know what he didn't like about the possibility of playing with the Dallas Cowboys. And maybe he just didn't think Dallas had enough money because they are, settling a lot of lawsuits and stuff or behind the scenes. So he's like, nah, I don't know. You guys got a lot of legal stuff going on. I need my money. I need all $120 million of my money. And the Buffalo Bills, wow, 6 years. 6 years, though. I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see if he plays out that entire contract because what teams like to do, 6 years is a long time for a player of his age, and they will restructure this deal. I guarantee you. Maybe the signing bonus will be good, and 1, 2, maybe 3 years. But I can guarantee you that they will restructure this deal. $120 million. Now, if he wins a Super Bowl, if he is very, influential with the team, who knows? But I just tend to think that this guy is, Von Miller, he had a big time injury with the Broncos, missed the whole season there. I think it was a whole season. But anyway, uh, not mad at the guy. He's getting his money. So Von Miller is now a Buffalo Bills, and I know Josh Allen. I mean, they got to be happy in Buffalo that this guy is joining the team. So anyway, that's the big free agency news I wanted to talk about. So how about we get into the action, March Madness? So how are you going to watch the games? Now I can tell you my setup in my media room. I have a 65-inch TV in the middle. I have two 40-inch TVs. I have one on the left and one on the right. So I plan to watch 3 games at once. I just couldn't have it any other way. Hell, I might even have the 65-inch TV downstairs going on when I come downstairs because you just gotta. It's March Madness. Everything, and I probably won't accept any telephone calls today from no one unless they are wanting to talk about. Did you see this? Are you watching that? The game? It has to be game related. It just has to be. So I probably will place a wager or two on some of these big time games now. Jeff Lambert Sr., Mr. Picks, who will join me on some shows. He's a professional sports betting handicapper. I'm probably going to take some pointers from him before I just go and spend money. I think I have $100 to wager today on some games, and I'll share with you, win or lose, what might happen. Okay, I'll do that. Now, and gambling is something that, you should really think about. You should do very carefully and responsibly, as they say. But nevertheless, I'm going to share that with you. So, all right, 16 games today. All right, games start at 11:15 a.m. and that's probably my time. I'm thinking Central Time. So wherever you are, it could be an hour different there. 11:15 a.m. and the last game starts at 9 o'clock. No, at 9 o'clock tonight. And that's the Texas Southern and Kansas. So anyway, so let's start with the first one here. Michigan and Colorado State. All right, so this should be an interesting game here. Michigan is favored to win. I think I think we picked Michigan in our brackets because even though the Juwan Howard thing that happened where he was suspended for those last 5 games, and I believe Michigan is an 11th seed because I have to switch back and forth to my brackets because this is not giving me the seeds here. I know Michigan is an 11th seed, so Colorado State has to be a 6th seed. So that only makes sense, right? Well, anyway, the story with Michigan is that Michigan was an Elite Eight maybe team, a couple of Sweet 16, so they got respect from the tournament committee. And even though it was an ugly incident that happened with between the Wisconsin coach and Juwan Howard, and I hated to see that. But they got the respect. I didn't think Michigan was going to make the tournament because they just wasn't playing great basketball. And if you ask, do I think Michigan was better than Texas A&M, who, ran a hot streak there in the SEC tournament, made the championship game? I kind of think Texas A&M should have made the NCAA tournament. But hey, Michigan, big time school when it comes to basketball, and and just looking at their history there, the tournament, said, hey, it gave them an 11th seed, which, hey, and they could beat Colorado State. So yeah, Colorado State is the 6th seed there. So I got Michigan winning this game today, which should be interesting. So that's the first game. Then we have Providence. So we got South Dakota State, and this game will start at about 35 minutes after the Michigan game, which is going to be the Michigan game is going to be on CBS. The South Dakota State Providence game is going to be on TruTV. Now, that's probably a network that nobody watches until March Madness. Because remember, you got TruTV, CBS, TNT, TBS. You got 4 different networks that these games are going to be on. So just get ready, and you're going to have Clark Kellogg and Charles Barkley and Kenny Smith and Ernie. It's going to be fun. Okay, so that's why it's just if you're watching it on one TV, I'm sorry, you gotta at least have 2 TVs to watch these games. I'm just spoiled that way, and one reason why I'm spoiled that way because I tend to go to Las Vegas quite often during the NFL season. I do a show on KDWN 720 AM 101.5 FM in Las Vegas. One of my sponsors is the Westgate Sportsbook out there. And if you ever been to Las Vegas, you ever been to the Westgate, you know the Superbook out there, the Westgate Sportsbook. If you ever been there, that place is gigantic. They have the biggest TV screens in the world, and you can just go in there and it's like, oh my goodness, you can just get lost. They probably have about 15 major big screens going on in there where you can watch anything, horse racing, baseball, football, whatever is on. So I tried to make my media room just like a little small version of that with the TVs, the 3 TVs. Now I don't have the gambling cages or the betting cages up there. That's not legal in Texas, okay? But anyway, I do have a bar up there. I have an ice machine. I have beverages up there. I got everything else. I just don't have the betting machines up there because I don't want to spend any time in jail. Now, when they make that legal in Texas, we're gonna see what we can do with that. But anyway, But no, so I got to have those games. But you got to go to Vegas too and go to the Westgate if you've never been. Which and as a matter of fact, as soon as we finalize this, and I will be making this announcement here, more than likely I will be hosting the NFL Draft Show from the Westgate. Now I did a couple of shows from the Westgate last football season, and we're working on a deal to try to do the NFL Draft Show from the Westgate in Las Vegas. As you do know, that the NFL Draft is in Las Vegas this year, so this is going to be exciting. I'm looking forward to going to my third draft. I went to the one in Dallas. I went to the one in Chicago when they finally moved it out of New York. Thank goodness. I like that they put it on the road. I like that they allow fans that have never been to a draft to go and support your team and all of that. So I just wanted to mention that. So let's get back to the NC2A. Okay. So we have South Dakota State at Providence. This Providence team is pretty good, folks. I like Providence. I think Providence will get it done here, and I do believe they will win. And if you look at my bracket that me and Dustin Pfeiffer did, we definitely picked Providence. I just hate that they didn't put the seeds there because I hate having to go back and forth here. But I do like Providence to win that game on TruTV at 11:40 Central Time there. All right, the next game, the Memphis team. Memphis will play Boise State. Now, this is Penny Hardaway's Memphis team, and this game is going to be on TNT. So Memphis, let's see what seed we got Memphis in out there. Memphis is a ninth seed. So this is an 8-9 matchup. The 8-9 matchups usually make some pretty good damn games. Now, me and Dustin picked Boise State now because we collectively had to agree. Now, but in the 8-9 seed matchup, it doesn't really matter. But I wouldn't be surprised if Penny Hardaway gets the win. But we got Boise State winning, but it should be a good game. Those 8-9 matchups are really, really good. Okay, then Norfolk State is going to play Baylor. Now, I can tell you that Baylor is a number one seed. Okay, this is going to be a 1 p.m. game on TBS. Baylor is a number one seed. They won the whole thing last year. They are the defending champions of the tournament from last year. They would play Norfolk State, and oh my goodness, I guess the only thing is how bad will Norfolk State get beat? Some of these number 1 and 16 matchups, the spread, be careful with this because the spread might say 15, 20, 25, and sometimes these games are tight. Sometimes these schools struggle. I know Baylor's good, and Baylor plays in a good conference against quality teams, but Norfolk State has a record of 24-6. So they have won 24 games. Now you can go and look at their body of work and see how how many points they average and score. I mean, that's not going to help you a whole lot because the quality of their opponents is nowhere near what Baylor is, right? But at the same time, it's hey, you just have to, it's a gamble, right? That's why they call it gambling. You just have to figure, will Baylor cover that point spread? Some of these games are close. You remember when Virginia was the number one seed a few years ago and got beat? That's only happened once that a number one seed in the NC2A tournament has lost once. And Baylor being the defending national champions, boy, that would be a monumental upset. And it's not one that I'm going to pick today, but that's why we watch these games. It's going to be fun. All right, so the next game kicks off at 1:45 p.m., and this is going to be Longwood, and they are playing Tennessee. Now, we talked about this on the show, too, because nobody knew where the hell Longwood was. And as a matter of fact, I can't even remember where it was. But anyway, Tennessee is the number 3 seed. Longwood is a 14 seed. Occasionally, a 14 seed will beat a 3 seed. That has happened. A 15 seed will beat a 2 seed. That has happened. But that number 1 and that 16 seed, that's only happened once. So those odds are not as good. But I got Tennessee winning this game. So I don't, mainly because I don't know who the hell Longwood is. So I'm not even going to worry about that. But Tennessee played very well and they won the SEC tournament. And that SEC, you're talking about winning over teams like Kentucky and A&M and Alabama and Arkansas. So Tennessee is really, really good. Rick Barnes, I don't know if you guys are familiar with him. He used to coach. As a matter of fact, he was Kevin Durant's coach in college. DJ Augustine, way back in the day, Rick Barnes used to coach the Texas Longhorns, and he stayed there for a long time. And now he's coaching Tennessee, so they will win. All right, the next game we have Richmond at 2:10 p.m. on TruTV. They will play Iowa. Now, for some reason, people really like this Iowa team, and they have them going pretty far in this tournament. And I don't know why, though. I'm not getting it. Iowa is a 5 seed. Richmond is a 12 seed. I'm going with Iowa, but that 12-5 seed matchup is usually a much bigger upset, and it happens more frequently than those other seeds. The 12-5 seed, there will be a 12 seed in the Sweet 16. It's just a matter of who. It happens all the time. 11 seed or 12 seed would make that, but the Iowa Hawkeyes should get this game. Should get that win. The next game, Georgia State will take on Gonzaga at 3:15 Central Time on TNT. Now, Gonzaga is the number 1 seed overall. They are number 1 overall in this tournament, which means they are in the West. As a matter of fact, they open up, I believe, in Portland, Oregon, which is not far from where they play in Washington. So they're going to have some home cooking. This Georgia State team, I don't know what the point spread is, but this Georgia State team might give Gonzaga a little problem, but Gonzaga will win. You know, Gonzaga played against Baylor in the national championship game last year. The knock I have on Gonzaga is that they always have a great team until they get to the tournament, play someone that they are just not familiar with and can't really handle. And that's what happened with Baylor. You know, they get beat by 20 points last year in the national championship game. Are you kidding me? Do you deserve to be the number 1 seed and you end up getting beat by 20 points in the national championship game? So here we go again. Gonzaga is number 1. Now, granted, in that Western, what is it, West Coast Conference, they're over there with St. Mary's, and they don't really play a lot of great teams. Now, they might run up against some teams in those tournaments, those preseason tournaments. But man, by the time, and that's early in the season when teams are really, trying to find themselves. But when you get to the March Madness, man, everybody's like, okay, we ready, you know. So I don't know. I don't know. Gonzaga, this could be their year based on if you look at the brackets and look at who. In order for them to get to the Final Four, they would have to beat Duke, Texas Tech, Arkansas. There's a lot of good teams in that region of that bracket for Gonzaga to. They have to be. They would have to beat a lot of teams. And Duke, man, that ain't gonna be a Texas Tech. There's a lot of good teams. So if they can make it there, then they might punch it in this year. But I don't know. And they'll beat this team today. I didn't mean to go off on a tangent there, but man, Gonzaga, I don't know. They just keep giving them, and sometimes it's just setting them up for failure. But we'll see. We will see. Hell, they could get beat today, and I will be coming on here Monday, not Monday, coming on here tomorrow because the day is only Thursday, and saying I told you so. But anyway, all right. The next game we have is going to be Marquette in North Carolina. Ooh, North Carolina made it in there, and that's the Dwayne Wade School, Marquette, in North Carolina is coached by Hubert Davis. This is going to be a 3:30 game on TBS, 3:30 Central Time. Remember, all these times are Central Time that I'm giving you, so check your time, hour difference. North Carolina's favored to win this game, and I'm trying to see what seed did they give North Carolina here in this Marquette. So it's an 8-9 matchup. So it's a toss-up. It's a toss-up. So, but I think North Carolina's going to win. I can't remember who we picked on the bracket. Okay, let's see. The next game we have is New Mexico State and Connecticut. UConn should win. I haven't watched a lot of UConn games this year, but I think they shouldn't have any problems with this game here. Against it's a 5-12 seed. I'll go with UConn in this game here. All right, the next game we have, I think this is a 2-15 seed, St. Peter's, Kentucky. This is going to be a CBS game, 6:10 p.m. tonight, and Kentucky should win. This is a very experienced Kentucky team for Calipari. Normally, his teams are freshmen that stay with him 1 year and they go on to the NBA. So he's actually got a seasoned team, and anytime he has a seasoned team, they tend to do great things. So Kentucky shouldn't have any problems with St. Peter's. So we go from St. Peter's to St. Mary's. Indiana will play St. Mary's at 6:20 on TBS. So Indiana won that play-in uh, game the other night, and they're going to take on and this St. Mary's is in that same conference with Gonzaga in that West Coast Conference, and I like St. Mary's, but Indiana has that. That's a traditional basketball school. If you know anything about basketball, they've had some great players come out of there, and I'm trying to see right now. So that's a 12-5 seed. The 5 seed is St. Mary's. Indiana is the 12 seed. So, ooh wee, that should be a good one. Indiana might pull off the upset, which for them to be a 12 seed is shocking, but and St. Mary's is sort of like Gonzaga, in that conference. But Indiana, man, I wouldn't be surprised if Indiana pulls it off. This next matchup here on TruTV at 6:27, Creighton at San Diego State. This is going to be some must-see TV. An 8-9 matchup here. San Diego State struggled, late in the season, even in their conference tournament. Creighton, same thing, but Creighton played some very big-time schools out there on the East Coast, and this is going to be a hell of a game. Trust me, it's going to be a good game. My son graduated from San Diego State University, so I'm almost forced to go for San Diego State. And I lived in San Diego, California for 15 years, so love the city, the weather, the beaches and all that great stuff. But this is going to be a good game. I like San Diego State. And then the next game, 8:20 tonight on TNT, Arkansas and Vermont. Oh my goodness! So it's a 4 and a 13 seed. Please don't let this be an upset. Okay, told you guys I'm from Arkansas. The Razorbacks look pretty good. They got an early exit in their SEC tournament. They cannot lose. This would be horrible. Okay, this would not be good. 4 and a 13 matchup. I don't know much about Vermont. All I know is that Arkansas cannot lose this damn game. So this is 8:20 game tonight, and then 8:40 on CBS. You got San Francisco at Murray State, and Murray State is in Kentucky. For those of you who didn't know that, Dustin Pfeiffer didn't know that yesterday. I was shocked. But 8:40 p.m. and Murray State. I like Murray State. Murray State is a well coached, a good team. You guys know John Morant played with Murray State, so they are on the map. They're not that Cinderella team anymore. They're not a team that people are going to overlook now. They have respect. And so you got a 7-10 matchup. Those 7-10 matchups can go either way. Murray State is the 7th seed, San Francisco the 10th seed, but I like Murray State in this game. And the next one is Akron, UCLA. Akron at UCLA, and UCLA is favored to win. UCLA is come on. If you haven't heard of UCLA, where have you been? They have how many championships? 10, 11? I don't know. UCLA, some people think they invented college basketball. They have so many championships. So UCLA is the 4th seed. So you got a 4-13 matchup there, and there's no way that Akron should beat UCLA. And UCLA, I got them going very far in the tournament as well. And then we have Texas Southern, who is right up the road, down the road actually from me, not far in Houston. They will play on TruTV tonight at 8:57 p.m. They're going to play the number 1 seed, Kansas Jayhawks. Oh my goodness! I just hope this is a respectable game. Bill Self and the Kansas Jayhawks, man, they always seem to be in these tournaments, always seem to have a number one seed. Kansas should win. And guess what, folks? That is going to be all 16 games. Can you believe we got all that done in 1 hour? Damn. Man, I wasn't even looking at the clock, just running my mouth here. So anyway, we got a couple of hours for you guys to refresh, get yourself together, go run those errands, go load up on all the green beer. Don't forget to wear green because someone would pinch you if you don't. I don't know do they still do that? I remember the first time someone pinched me because I didn't wear green. And I was 11, 12 years old, didn't know the meaning of St. Patrick's. They pinched me really hard. And all I remember doing was just knocking the hell out of them for doing that because I didn't understand that. So one hell of a way to learn what St. Patrick's Day is all about. Number one, you wear green, and you know, if you don't, I don't think they do that anymore because I remember knocking the hell out of Henry when he pinched me. I remember the guy who did it too. So that's my St. Patrick's Day story. But anyway, I gotta make some runs. I gotta load up. I looked at my refrigerator upstairs yesterday and there's nothing in there but water. So something has went terribly wrong up there. But anyway, guys, enjoy March Madness. I can't wait to talk about the 16 game schedule tomorrow. Hopefully, nothing crazy happens in free agency today in the NFL. If it does, we'll talk about it. Anyway, enjoy the rest of your day. Enjoy March Madness. Enjoy St. Patrick's Day. Do not drink too much. You have to watch the games. You guys in the chat room, thanks for your support. I can't even talk anymore. Thanks for your support. Thanks for you guys joining me, and I'll see you back here tomorrow on the MeanGene Show, right here streaming live on Podbean Live. See you later.